The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots. Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
So there's a reference to Everson Walls on page 78 and 79.
That's all I get?
Swagger.
That's all I get? Yeah, I get like a couple of sentences on the page. Come on,
there it
man.
is.
I gave him a whole chapter
to
of
kick off
mine.
Mick Shots on, what day is this? This is a Thursday. There it is. It's a copy. It's not autographed, but it's for you, Everson.
Who is Dave Hyde?
He's a Miami sports writer.
He was a sports writer for the Miami
Herald?
Newspaper.
Yeah. I can find it.
It was either Miami or
You give me
Fort
that,
Lauderdale.
and I do this. How about that?
Well, then I'll take it.
No, that is not for anyone. That's for Bill alone.
All right, we are inside the SWBC podcast studio. It's a Thursday, and the Cowboys on the practice field, and Mickey Spagnola arrived just in the nick of time for his own podcast.
In the mick of
here.
time.
In the mick of time. That's good. I like
you.
that.
I was on Des Bryant time.
Yeah, and the reason, you had a good reason, because you're out there watching practice.
Yes. Funny story.
If you're on time, you're late.
I was
if you're on time,
no,
you're
there's
late.
no late for this. I was already prepared, right? In 2014, when we were going to London, we were leaving the buses at the ranch at 4 o'clock for the plane. And here comes Dez, 3:58, into the parking lot. And he had to go through security and basically walked out right around 4 o'clock, right? So the first day we were there, I plugged in my laptop, and it shorted out my power thing to the laptop. So I had to kind of steal power from other people's connection, right? And so I'm in the kind of common area where they were working in the hallways in that hotel, and we were supposed to leave at 11:30. And it was 11:25, and I was stealing power, right? And I get a phone call, and it's Broadus. And he goes, "Hey, you coming to practice?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, 11:30, it's leaving." I go, "Well, it's 11:25." And he goes, "Well, you better get here." And just when I was saying, I'm on Des Bryant time, Jason Garrett comes walking down the hallway. And I said, 11:30 means 11:30. And I cracked him up because he knew what almost happened, right?
Hey, man, when you're overseas, man, things happen.
So noon is noon.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm here.
And the reason that you walked in almost late, but not late, is because you're out on the practice field watching practice.
All his due diligence.
And they are practicing. I can tell you that Zeke was going through his normal resistant cord drills with Britt Brown, along with Michael Gallup, who continues to do them just as a warm-up. And Zeke was moving well. And from all I can tell is, when they give out the injury report, which, by the way, I have it here
which
somewhere.
is 2 pages for the Packers this week.
Yeah. When they say limited, they don't mean limited physically. They mean limited in how many snaps you take.
Okay.
So Zeke took snaps. So
Yeah, so if he just worked on the side, he would have DNP, did not participate.
Right. But so he did some stuff.
And so did Noah Brown.
And so did Noah Brown, absolutely.
Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
And, when I see them out there, when they get done doing that stuff, they're running pretty well. So I think that bodes well for going for. I think the only guy that's in jeopardy is Anthony Barr. Excuse me. He didn't practice, and I was told after the injury that it looked pretty iffy for a guy that's 30, and it's a hamstring, and you never know how long those things are going to last. So I would think he's the guy in jeopardy. As a matter of fact, when Mike answered the question today in the press conference, he said at best he would be limited today. So I think that's not going to happen.
And the question was posed about him, Anthony Barr, and of course his history of playing against the Packers, and it was kind of couched in, okay, if he can get back, he'd love to get back for this game against Green Bay. Well, don't you know the game he really wants to get back for is next week?
Yes, that's the one.
That's
let's
right.
just chill.
Yeah.
Let's just chill.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought he had a good answer, and it made sense, logical sense on James Washington about how they're going to practice next week, pulling back for Thanksgiving, that there was no sense starting him this week and then not get much practice the next week. And then the third week, all you would get is kind of a day, not really a full practice. So they're going to start him later because of the schedule, not because of his physical status.
Gotcha.
So he would start later.
Maybe next week.
Okay.
And then he would get that week, somewhat the next week, and then he would get a full week of practice going into who's after Thanksgiving.
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis. He would get a full week.
You get the mini bye, and then because that is not a Thursday game like we've had recently.
We don't get the 3 and 10 days.
Yeah.
Well, we got 3 and 12 days here.
12 days.
But here recently we've been playing a second Thursday game after the Thanksgiving game. We're not doing that this time. It's a Sunday game.
So you get 2 and 10 days
Right,
basically because of Thanksgiving, but at least you get all that time afterwards to prepare.
The other
for
Thursday
Colts.
game is after Christmas this year.
And that's the reason, because of the whole Christmas New
they
Year's
play,
thing, right?
and they play Saturday and then
it's not
Thursday.
even a Sunday Thursday turnaround.
If you
so
count,
it's actually
not doing
caught a
anything
break
on
there
Christmas.
on a
They did. Well, now I heard that we could be playing on Christmas Day.
No, it's not going to happen, right?
Not going to happen?
I don't think so.
They don't.
Philadelphia's
move
going
it.
to. The word I've heard is that Philadelphia will stay on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Yeah.
No matter how important.
Don't hold me to it, but that's the little birdie.
No matter what. No matter how
But Bill mentioned
enticing that sounds.
Bill mentioned the Packers, and they've got 17 guys on their injury report, and only one is full, which is Christian Watson with the concussion. We'll see how full it is going forward.
Are any of them offensive linemen?
David Bakhtiari did not practice with a knee. Their wide receiver, I believe he's starting now, Romeo Dobbs.
He's out.
He's out, right?
Right.
And they listed
But he's
him
not.
as-
They have not put him on injured reserve. He's got a high ankle
He's
sprain.
DNP'd,
Yeah.
but we've read that he is out. Aaron Jones is limited with an ankle. Lazard is limited with a shoulder. So the run and Sammy Watkins with a knee did not practice, and I think those are
What'd they have on Christian Watson?
full
Okay.
concussion.
Right.
So,
because the concussion that Watson suffered was actually the previous week, and then he got banged up. And I think, in fact,
It wasn't
the word I
a
heard it was
concussion.
he just got the breath knocked out of him.
Yeah.
But he got checked as if it was a concussion.
right, and they
this week,
and
but
they
it wasn't.
and they cleared him.
Yeah.
Oh, and John Runyon, their guard, was limited also.
And so I'm worried about the offensive linemen, because we talked yesterday after we signed off about how good they are in the running game.
Right.
And, I'm looking at all problems that could occur, especially while you're on the road. That's something you don't want to be prevalent against your defense, is their ability to run the ball, control the clock,
Right.
and the tempo of the ball game. That's
And then-
not what we want.
And then they also picked up Jonathan Abrams. The Raiders let him go, their former first-round pick in 2019. Safety.
Yes, that's what I thought. I thought that
He got
recognized
waived.
that guy.
Only played 36 games for him. So Packers were a little short in the secondary, so they picked him up too. But, yeah, they've got 16 guys listed as limited or did not practice, and 10 of the guys did not practice. So they've got some problems from an injury
Chicago
standpoint.
ran on us extremely well. If I'm not mistaken, they had 3 backup offensive linemen in that game. Am I correct?
It was. I'll have to look back at it, but it was something like
it
that.
was at least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think
their
they
turn
lost one
in
the
Chicago. They have all these mid-round draft pick offensive linemen on their team, and it's been makeshift as it goes. So to say that they're backups, they might actually be the guys that should have been the starters all along. You know, and so.
Well, either way, we had a group that was kind of glued and pasted together that was still pretty effective against us.
And by the way, one of those did not practice, Aaron Rodgers. Guess what? A right thumb.
He's been bothered by it for a while now.
Right? And I think he was protecting it this last game. He was having some problems.
He has been throwing into offensive linemen a lot.
And that
a lot of his passes have been knocked down. That was especially against
one
the
of
Giants,
the interceptions
too.
this past Sunday was he hit somebody off the defensive lineman.
And the defensive against the Giants, he did it twice.
Right.
The last two passes that really would have counted.
So they've got some things that they got to deal with.
We need to march off in there and just take care of business and take our bus right back.
And
home.
right from the start, don't let them hang around.
That's what
right?
I'm saying.
Don't turn the ball over.
No.
Give them something
Nothing.
cheap.
No. And that's including starting in the second half.
Yeah.
You know, no reprieve at all.
Just go in there with the hammer.
That's it. And then just do it for coach.
It made me think of one of those political commercials where they were knocking down the wall, right? It's like go in there with the hammer and knock them down.
Knock down the wall.
You want to hear a funny story? Last night.
You got one?
Funny crosstalk. Timmy Newsom was our guest.
Okay.
Nate was there. And I was doing some research on Timmy. Played with the Cowboys from 80 through 88. And I read something, and I didn't remember it from 86, but that was when they got Herschel Walker, right? And it said that at one point in 86, Landry set him up in a full house backfield. It was Herschel to one side, Timothy to the other side, and then Dorsett was behind him. And so we briefly talked about it. We get off the air, and Nate goes, "Oh, Timmy, I thought you were going to say Herschel was playing on the right wing." I said, well, okay, line of the night, and you did it when we were in break.
Nate don't want to cause too much trouble.
Yeah, right.
Nate is the Nate we saw yesterday. That's the Nate that Nate likes to be.
Right.
And everybody loved it. I was on Twitter. Man, they said that was probably our best show.
Well, we tweeted it out, too. Yeah. Douglas tweeted out the clip.
Of course. And the cow
about.
bite, yes.
Yeah.
And that when the response to it was several, like that was our best show. And it's a damn shame it was our best show and he's not even part of our crew.
Okay, real quick, and because I mentioned it off the top, what I would like to get into in the next segment, did you listen to Aaron Rodgers yesterday?
I heard excerpts of it
about
how he and
his
Mike,
relationship with McCarthy, and it was really good. His regular locker room weekly interview with the press up there. But before I do that, before next segment, let me, because I know you're curious, Everson, what Jimmy wrote about you in his book. So I'm just going to paraphrase here from the, because I'm going to give you this as a gift after I read it. Okay, is that okay?
After
I have to read the book first.
He's going to make me buy it.
Yeah. Well, your name's not in it.
Not at all.
Not at all.
All those pages. Oh.
All right. So we're talking about Everson Walls was beaten for a 72-yard touchdown against the Arizona Cardinals.
False.
Vince Albritton
he still doesn't know how to coach defense. Keep it going.
With a minute to play. That dropped us to 1-9. While trudging off the field, I saw Walls joking with that winning receiver, Ernie
That is
Jones.
not true either. It was not. Ernie Jones was the one that scored the touchdown. Roy Green was who I was talking to.
Everson, what is going on here? I yelled. Get your blank in
the locker room.
In the locker room.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true.
That's true.
Okay,
yeah.
that part's true. Walls looked at me. What's the big deal? We'd already lost 8 of them. We're not going to the playoffs. He said, okay, Walls, here's what Jimmy says. Walls wasn't a bad guy, nor was he a bad player. He went on to help the New York Giants.
See there? A compliment.
Wow.
He didn't say you were a good guy or a good player.
No. just one of
He
those
went on
guys.
to help the New York Giants win a Super Bowl.
shoot.
But he was a bad fit for our rebuilding program in Dallas. That's the first step for any losing organization, recognizing and ridding yourself of the bad people or wrong players.
Bad people.
Walls represented the losing culture I had to change. He wasn't around the next
That's
season.
crazy, ain't it? So that's funny. Wasn't good enough for the 1-15 Cowboys.
Losing culture.
Good enough for the 13-3 Super Bowl winning Giants.
the
That's
next year.
amazing. The next year. That's crazy. Now he has since.
So that's our cow bites for today.
That's a damn good cow bite. He got all of it wrong. He missed 2 bites at least.
Didn't get the receiver right.
Didn't get any of it right.
All right, let's talk Aaron Rodgers when we come back in a moment.
All right. Damn, that was fast.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh, she's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cape Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860, capepostcompany.com. That's capepostcompany.com. I heard that on another radio ad, so I thought I'd repeat it.
Oh,
There you go.
that's a little trick of the trade there. He's learning how to advertise.
So
You
good.
hammer it right into their memory.
That's
So
right.
good.
Say it
He's
twice.
So good. Oh, more than that. I need some money. He said money.com. Get some money.com. Where I get some money? Where I get some money? Get some money? You got me some money? I get some money.com. Oh, my God. I get it.
All right, Aaron Rodgers, wow. How do we account, outside of the inexperienced receiving core that he has, that Aaron Rodgers, at this point, coming off the seasons that he's had, he turns 39 in early December 2nd, I think.
Yes.
He turns 39 years old.
Which
but he's
the head
coming off
coach-
back-to-back MVP seasons, and you're going to say, wish a happy birthday to someone?
To Mike McCarthy, turning 59 today.
Wow. Isn't that nice? Scorpio?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Scorpio. My wife's on the 5th, so
Okay,
I'm
must be.
assuming. Yeah.
All right.
Ready, Mick?
I only know when Sagittarius.
Yeah, in Capricorn, right?
Okay, I'm a Gemini, and I'm a
I
twin.
don't even know what that is. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wait. You are
Gemini.
a twin?
I am a twin.
You are a twin.
I have a twin sister.
Come on,
yes.
man. Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
How about that?
And I'm
Wow.
a Gemini. That's right.
Oh man, that's weird.
That is weird.
That's what me and Bill have in common.
What? You're a Gemini too?
No, I'm a twin.
He's a twin.
Well, yeah, but you're not a Gemini. You're not a twin by twin sign. You see what I'm saying? You're just a twin.
You're not
a twin.
Just a twin.
You're not astrologically a twin,
right.
too.
Yeah, he covers a whole gamut, man. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah, that was congratulations, though. Go ahead.
On being a twin. All right, so Aaron Rodgers turns 39 next month. Mike McCarthy turned 59 today. But I thought it was very enlightening to hear Aaron Rodgers yesterday at his locker talking on and on about his relationship with Mike McCarthy and how close a relationship they have. I mean, you can only assume it during the time, but he says that it has grown stronger here in the last. It sounded like maybe even in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Because he's not there?
It was more so because.
How is their relationship?
Maybe so the relationship as personal, not football.
Right. Because when it came to football, they rumored that was one reason he left was because they couldn't get along.
It's already been rumored he's having problems football-wise with Matt LaFleur.
Well, yeah, so I said Aaron Rodgers has problems with everybody. He's a critical thinker, you know.
A critical thinker, I like that. And there's many uses of the word critical.
Right.
And it sounded like that they reached out to each other here in the last year or so, and so they've contacted each other through texting or calls or whatever, and Aaron's point on it was that now that there's some distance between, he appreciates even more now what McCarthy did for him in his career. Right. And there's as time passes, there's more of a sense of gratitude. And he's seen it, he's with another coach now. And he wasn't going to compare how it is playing for McCarthy versus LaFleur.
To compare to, right?
Yeah. Coming into the league, that's right. Yeah,
all he had was at Cal.
Well, 05, he was there with Mike Sherman.
Sherman's last year.
Yeah, and McCarthy got there in 06.
Because there was still a little bitterness because when McCarthy was in 05 in San Francisco, they didn't draft him. They drafted Alex Smith instead of Aaron Rodgers.
The number 1 overall pick.
Right.
And I think that's still stuck in his craw.
Well, and then Rodgers slid all the way to 25.
Yeah, or 27.
He can get mad at a lot of teams then.
Yeah, he was 24th pick. 24th pick of the 05.
That's why he's been tearing it up like that. He's been taking revenge
it's like
out on
Randy
everybody.
Moss, right? 19 teams passed on him, but the only one he held a grudge against was
the Cowboys, right?
By the way, listen, think about this. Now look at the 05 draft. With Bill Parcells here. The 05 draft for the Cowboys took DeMarcus Ware at 11 and Marcus Spears at 20.
And he didn't take
Aaron Rodgers went 24 in that draft.
Oh.
So actually, had they decided that Aaron Rodgers was going to be Aaron Rodgers, they could have taken him even at the 20th with their second first-round pick.
But Bill knew that Tony Romo was on the come.
Yeah, and we were still a year and a half away from Tony Romo ever playing in a game.
Which was still too soon for Bill Parcells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bledsoe caused them to do it.
So this is what would have happened then. If the Cowboys had taken Aaron Rodgers, okay? If the Cowboys had taken Aaron Rodgers in the first round of the 05 draft, along with DeMarcus Ware, what would have happened to Tony Romo? He would have been let go, and where would he have wound up? With the Green Bay Packers.
He may not have made it anywhere.
He would have gone back home to Wisconsin and signed as a free agent.
He would have been the local Bill Jones of Green Bay. Back to Wisconsin.
Wow.
And you realize Romo was the first Cowboy quarterback to win a game at Lambeau Field. 2008.
Man, I wish he could have gotten that.
Where's that media guide?
I wish he could have gotten that other one.
He's going to check me, but
I believe you. I was just trying to think of, how many games, what was their Cowboys record?
Well, currently they're 2-9 at Lambeau Field. Now, there was some games in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But Tom Landry never beat Lombardi.
Oh,
except,
wow.
Yes, he did in the preseason.
Get out of here.
No, the reason I bring that up, I went back at one point and looked in the archives, the old newspaper articles they had at Valley Ranch, okay? And it was unbelievable the amount of media attention back in the 60s that they gave to
the
preseason games.
Yes.
And the Cowboys didn't sell out any games in the regular season back then. But when the Packers came to town in the preseason, they were sellouts, baby.
Because they were champions.
Yeah, it's the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, but the NFL champion Green Bay Packers.
Like 61.
I think it has a lot to do with the matchup of the coaches as well.
61 and 62.
Even then, they were legendary.
Well, they were assistants
coaches
together with the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Landry wasn't a legend then.
No, and Lombardi wasn't either.
He was going to be.
Well, because he turned around the Packers in like 2 years, right? Or 3, the third season.
All right, so the Cowboys won. The Cowboys wins over the Packers on the road were in Milwaukee. They beat them in Milwaukee in 1978, 1980, 1991. I was at that one. And
when did they?
In 2008.
What was the other time they played in Milwaukee? 90?
Well, 1965. They lost.
Because I covered a game in Milwaukee.
I did too. That was the 1991, right?
91 was it?
Yeah, 91. That's the one, and I covered that one too in Milwaukee.
Didn't they play there in '89 because they played the Packers?
No, they played. That was Green Bay.
Lambeau. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story about '91? So.
Wow, 2 funny stories in one mix shot.
I don't
one segment.
I don't know how well
this is a first.
I don't know how well this was known, but at the Times
Herald,
be
the judge whether it's a funny story or not.
At the Times Herald, Skip Bayless and Frank Luxa didn't get along whatsoever. They were like,
oh, imagine that. Everyone got along with Luxa.
When we went,
hated Skip.
When we went to Milwaukee that year. We stayed in some weird hotel, and they didn't have enough room. So they told us ahead of time we were going to have to double up, right? All the media, when they got the room.
Because it's Green Bay.
They had Frank and Skip at the same room.
Perfect.
Oh, and when I got there and I saw the roster, I was like, we're going to have to change this.
Did they change it?
Yeah.
Man, come on. Why would you mess with perfection?
I used to have to referee after the game, like what everybody's going to write, and I was supposed to call into the sports editor and say, okay, Frank's doing this and Skip's doing this. So I'd ask one of them, okay, what do you guys got? And one of them would go, I don't know what the other guy's got. I said, oh, let me find out. So I'd ask the other guy, and they go, well, what's the other guy got? I said, I give. Just do what you want.
That's crazy.
All right. So Romo won at Green Bay in 2008. Mm-hmm. Everson, who's the only other Cowboys quarterback to win at Green Bay?
Gotta be Troy.
No. Romo was the first.
Romo was the
to
first
win at Lambeau Field.
It's a pretty easy question.
Is it Romo?
No.
Who's the?
It's another
Romo,
quarterback.
Another quarterback won at Green Bay, Lambeau Field. That would be Dak Prescott in his rookie season. Remember the stretch? That is when Dak really became Dak, I thought. That stretch, going on the road, winning at Green Bay, the drive at the end of the first half. I think it was a 95-yard drive at the end of the first half. And then was it the next week? I can look it up, but was Pittsburgh?
Well, they won 11 straight.
Well, yes, and but it was that game I remember. It was Pittsburgh. Zeke Elliott hurdling the DB.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the one.
No, it was several weeks later they played Pittsburgh. But
that's
it was
okay.
So,
well, that was a hell of a year.
So in Dak's rookie season, all right, obviously lost the opener, and then 20-19 to the Giants. And then it was wins over Washington, Chicago, San Francisco, which wasn't a good San Francisco team.
No, it wasn't.
Cincinnati. So he didn't really have a win to hang your hat on yet.
Well, that was his first year starting.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And so now, now we'll see what he's got.
Right.
He's going to Green Bay.
That's right.
And won that game 30-16. Bye week, beat Philadelphia in overtime the next week. And that was he was teetering a little bit there with his footwork, remember?
Mm-hmm.
At that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then big win, lopsided win at Cleveland. Cleveland wasn't any good.
No, they weren't.
Now at Pittsburgh.
That was the win that let me know that they're ready.
Right. And it was a 35-30 win at Pittsburgh.
And
what's the one play you remember from that game?
That was the hurdle. That was Zeke Elliott hurdling the defensive back. He was going to score, but he lost his footing.
Oh, yeah.
After he
that's right.
Stumbled.
He stumbled, yeah.
Wasn't it a screen pass to Zeke?
No, that was right up the middle.
No, not on that play.
Okay.
But wasn't it a screen pass to Zeke and he went 80 yards down the sideline or something like that?
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they lost to the Giants?
They
in New York
beat Baltimore, beat Washington, won at Minnesota, and then lost to the Giants.
So 2 of the 3 losses were to the Giants by like 3 points and 1 point or something.
Bookending the 11-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's lost to the Giants since, has he?
And you know what?
he's been on the road. He's still pissed off.
We'll talk to Dak today, but in passing on Monday, when somebody said something about what do you remember about the 2016 game beating the Packers up there, and he said, I threw my first NFL interception.
We always remember
because
those.
he had 3 touchdowns. That was his first 3-touchdown game.
Nah, we always remember what we didn't do. It haunts us forever.
Well, and Dak he had 4 picks that entire season and 23 touchdown passes. The 4 picks are very Aaron Rodgers-like. I mean, when you look at Rodgers' career, especially the last few years, that was what was so unusual, him throwing 3 picks against the Lions on Sunday.
The worst
If you look at the last 4 years, Aaron Rodgers has averaged under 4 interceptions a season the last 4 years. And he had 3 in one game against the Lions, who fired their secondary coach last week.
It had to be the thumb. I mean, part of it. It's got to be something wrong.
No, his reads. It was his reads.
They did say that those were all – quarterback pundits have said those were all his fault, those throws. They were all on him. It wasn't anything about receivers running bad routes. They said it was all on him.
I think one of them might have been the route, the crossing route to Gallup. I think he didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking Rodgers.
Oh, I thought you were talking Dak. I'm sorry. When you were talking 3 interceptions, I was thinking, did he throw 3 interceptions to that game?
All right. Trivia question.
Another one.
Presented by producer Supreme, Chris Beam. Who was the Green Bay Packer who intercepted Dak Prescott in that game? The answer, when Mick Shots continues in a moment.
We paid how much for those lessons?
Shh. She's doing great.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you pass me a Pepsi Zero Sugar? Great job, honey! Oh, look at that. That's not the end.
No way. Now it's time for the encore.
You know what? You're right. 5 times? Not enough times.
For everyone who traded in rock concerts for their kids' recitals, you've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar. That's what I like.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. You hear that? I'm a torrential downpour. Torrential? What's that even mean? It means you can't see out of your windshield. And if you have the wrong car insurance, you might have to make it rain to fix your bumper. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Mick Shots.
Limited single-game tickets for the remaining home games of the 2022 Dallas Cowboys season at AT&T Stadium are available now. Visit DallasCowboys.com/tickets or SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
How old were you, dude? That's my question.
I was like 7 or 8 years old.
I was going to say, you had to be pretty young. Yeah.
We were talking about what was the first concert you ever went to in the break. And, Mickey, you were what?
Ike and Tina Turner.
Okay.
My freshman year in college.
I can't even. I think I was in like kindergarten. I think I saw some puppets or some Muppets or something.
Puppets or Muppets?
Yeah, some guy. It was.
I wasn't much older than kindergarten. Memorial Auditorium in downtown Dallas. I went with my family, our sisters.
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it used to be back then.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I was 7 years old.
Right. You didn't drive yourself?
That's right.
You didn't catch a bus?
You saw
the monkeys.
The monkeys. Hey, with the monkeys.
My hero growing up was Davy Jones.
Did you used to watch the show on TV?
Of course. I had a monkey's lunchbox. What are you talking about?
Pull anybody in town.
That's right.
I know the song.
Here's
bro.
how.
That's right.
And here's how stupid I was. My first semester freshman year in college, I could have gone to Elton John, and I decided I needed to study. Right? I couldn't go. Well, where they had it in the field house was right next door to our dorm. So I heard the whole thing through the window, and it's like, I didn't study. I was just kicking myself. Why didn't you go to that?
Because you're there anyway, mentally.
Right, yeah. Oh, Elton John.
All right, we had a trivia question prior to the break, and who was the Green Bay Packer who intercepted Dak Prescott in 2016, the first pick of Dak's career? Who was it?
Well, my guess was Al Harris.
Your guess would be wrong.
And I think,
that's wrong?
No, that's wrong.
LeRoy Butler?
A Green Bay Packer who became a Dallas Cowboy. Joe Thomas.
Oh, I never would have gotten that.
Linebacker Joe Thomas.
I never would have gotten that.
First interceptions by a linebacker? Was the ball tipped or something?
Something like that.
We'll have to ask.
I don't remember.
I'm going to ask Dak today. Do you remember who intercepted that?
Oh, I bet you he does. He
probably
probably
does.
was reminded about it whenever Joe Thomas became a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. What's on your notepad, Mickey?
Well, we're trying to see what else Mike McCarthy had to say today. He didn't have much today. The questions weren't
y'all made
real.
him cry yesterday.
Monday he
that was
cried.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday he
come
cried.
on. He's not going to give you much anymore, brother.
Well, today is McCarthy's birthday.
Yeah. And
he was.
He talked about it after. He basically made lip service to it during the press conference. And then on the walk-off, somebody said, "So, Coach, how are you going to celebrate?" And he says, "Well, the family's already headed to Green Bay."
Yeah,
so.
he said that in the press conference.
He said that. He said, "So it's going to be a peaceful night for me."
Do you know how he's celebrating? He's taping his TV show tonight.
Oh, with
where's
Bill
he taping
celebrating
it, Bill? I wonder where he's
Bill
taping
Jones.
You'll be able to see the birthday celebration on Saturday night at 11:30.
Where'd you get him, Bill?
11, and that's what I got to do this afternoon. I got to go shopping.
Just
get him
something. Swagger.
Get him that book.
Can you tell Roxanne he's bringing him a cake?
How about a bottle of Belvedere?
There you go. All right. Well, I will tell him this, I guess. Jimmy, he was singing Mike McCarthy's praises when I interviewed him yesterday.
That's good.
He thinks Mike McCarthy is a primary reason that the Cowboys are doing what they're doing right now.
I agree with that.
Well, you ought to play him the video of it for the
you
show.
You think he cares?
Yeah.
You think he would take the time? Bill would have to stand there in his face, and then he'll figure it out.
He would. It's just a birthday present.
All right, you just brought up the families going up there and everything. Just how quickly did that family circle this game on their family calendar?
How quickly did the people in Green Bay circle it, too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mike McCarthy's coming to town.
They sure did. At the time, they were fired up about it. Now, not so much.
I liked his answer when they asked him about McCarthy Way, if he'd take a stroll down it. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Yeah, I want to see if it's still there."
He has a McCarthy Way?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And with
Lombardi and Holmgren probably all have one.
Nice.
And those were the other two guys that had the longest tenure other than Curly Lambeau. So Mike's second, 13 years. Nobody. And Curly was 1921 to like 49, I think.
Do we have any type of like Landry or Staubach?
We got a freeway that runs through Arlington called Tom Landry Freeway.
At this facility here, like we don't have. There's no.
Well, they have
Dorset or
they have the Hall of Fame or the Ring of Honor.
Of course, yes, they've got the walk.
They over Valley Ranch. Every street over there in Valley Ranch was named after a cowboy. Remember that?
Yeah, but we're not at Valley Ranch. I mean,
I wonder if there's.
But you know what?
I wonder if
They're
they've taken
still there.
those signs down.
No, they're still there.
I figured they were.
The streets. The streets are named that.
Yeah.
And then they built the.
So the White House. What cul-de-sac
Still
was that
there?
in? What cul-de-sac was that in?
What was the name?
Yeah, I know whose unfortunate name was on that one. That's crazy.
It was Playmaker.
Thanks a lot, guys.
It was Playmaker Way.
No, it was Player Way. It was Player Way. It wasn't Playmaker.
I think
Players. Yeah, AHS.
For some reason, Dorset's sticking out in my mind. I'm not sure for sure, but.
Put it on him.
And then,
no, just because he's a black
But you
guy,
know what?
that's
They extended that with the housing project that they developed where Valley Ranch was.
Oh, okay.
There's more names for the streets. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And McCarthy Way intersects Holmgren Way there in Green Bay.
Cool.
So we need to get a picture of that this weekend.
So will the team bus go down Mike McCarthy Way
on the way to the stadium?
They're going to have to, man.
I'm not sure.
I'd make a detour.
I don't know sure what the route is.
Yeah, I don't know where the Mike McCarthy Way is.
Somewhere around Lambeau Field.
All right, so you've been to Lambeau.
Yes.
Right. What makes Lambeau Field special? I've never been to Lambeau Field. The only time that I covered a Cowboys-Packers game there was at County Stadium in Milwaukee. And so I have never been to Lambeau Field. What can you tell people out there what makes Lambeau Field special?
Well, first of all, it's in the middle of a neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And when we would come in from Appleton, where we normally would stay, on the bus, it was coming down these basically neighborhood streets. Two, one way this way, one way that way, and here comes this big bus, right? And unlike Washington, D.C., people would be out there on their porch waving at the buses, not giving us the finger.
Yeah, man, I got that a lot. I thought it was just me.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, they gave it to me a lot.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Until they moved out of RFK. But there was still a way to get to the new stadium it was the Redskins. You had to go through this neighborhood again to get to the road, to get out to FedEx Field. And people would be just waking up, especially for those 1 o'clock games, and the early bus would come through at about 9:30. People would be in their pajamas outside. And
had the keg already.
Well, I don't know if they had it. They didn't even need a keg to give you the finger, right?
Well, but it's Wisconsin.
But right in
they have
front
beer
of
for breakfast,
in their
right?
driveway, so yeah.
Yeah, but in Wisconsin,
driveway.
in Green Bay, it was kind of a welcoming thing, like they were bringing in the new team.
And it's publicly owned.
Still.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing.
I've got a friend that bought interest or whatever, so he could get the plaque to put up in, or the certificate to put up in his house. He was a big Packer fan. He grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The field, the stadium's changed because they updated it to add more seats, more suites, boxes, things like that. But it's just big bowl. And as I remember, and unless it's changed, the majority of the seats are still benches like high school.
The answer to your question, Bill, there is nothing special. I mean, he's trying to make it sound special, but it's really not special.
It's where you played.
It's unique. It is unique.
It's where you played the ice bowl.
To say special, then that's in the.
And think about how cold when it gets cold there, and you got to sit on those
less special
metal bleachers.
Yes, even less special. No, that's not. That's like going to a high school track meet.
But it's
you've
cool.
been
to. It's cool looking though. Yeah.
It does. I just called it up on the map here. It does lead to Lambeau Field. They could go down Mike McCarthy Way.
It's got a map.
Well, you got it on your phone, don't you?
Yeah,
you have the map app.
I know.
And there is Mike McCarthy Way runs right alongside Lambeau Field,
You guys
right
have
by
map-
the
you
Don
have map
Hudson
apps?
Center.
You have map apps? I didn't know you had a map app.
You can go
Should
by
I get a
Anduzzi
map app?
Sports
Yes.
Club on the way.
Why can't I just go to GPS? I'll be good with that.
Well, it's
it's a map app.
It's Google Maps.
Okay, gotcha.
It's like a GPS.
Yeah, old people, boy, I tell you.
If you left here right now, it would take you 16 hours and 6 minutes
See,
to get
only
to
old
Mike
people
McCarthy
will give you
Way.
that kind of information.
So
It's right there on my map app.
What they built around when they upgraded, and they built their practice facility there, and they also built their museum there too. So it's a Packer museum you can go through. When I was probably junior high school maybe, one of my best friends, his parents had a cabin north of Green Bay. So we would drive up there in the summer once, and you had to go right through downtown Green Bay. And there was their old museum right there, right? And he was a Packer fan, I was a Packer fan. And his dad would never stop because he had time that he had to make, right? From home to this cabin had to be within a certain amount of hours, and we can't dilly-dally around, right? So one year when we were older, we were able to drive up there ourselves. And so we went through downtown. It's like, by God, we're stopping.
Yeah.
We go in there. I still have a small 8 millimeter film reel of one of their highlights of one season. I bought it when we went in there. And it was pretty cool. They had all this neat stuff, but they had a film room where we went in there and they would play the highlight films from this season, that season, this game, that game.
Did you transfer it over?
No. I bought something, but they had a projector and they kept showing it to us, right?
Okay.
And so we were in there for an hour watching this stuff. Finally, the guy came out of the projection room. He goes, "All right, you guys, which game do you want to see?" And he put it on for us. We must have spent an hour and a half, 2 hours in the film room watching replays.
We are looking at a real Green Bay Packer fan here.
That's right. Do you like Lambeau Field better or Fenway Park better? Or Wrigley Field?
I had a tie to Lambeau more than the other two. I've been to Fenway a couple of times, Wrigley a couple. Well,
so if you were to recommend to a fan,
I was a White Sox fan. I couldn't like Wrigley Field.
Okay, all right. So if you were to recommend
dead weeds on the
someone
wall.
on someone's bucket list,
yes.
Okay, if you were to recommend, if they were asking you, should I go to Fenway or Lambeau? Where should I go?
You got to go to Lambeau.
And now Chris brought up a good. What about
Comiskey?
Chicago? Yeah.
Oh, that was my spot.
Yeah.
But I went there.
He's a South Sider.
I got you.
And then they tore it down.
Oh,
it still breaks my heart that there's a parking lot there.
Mm-hmm.
And the new stadium. You know what? I don't know if I told you guys. When I went to Columbia this past weekend, flew into Kansas City, and I went to the Negro Baseball League
I've been there several
museum.
times. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is.
Unbelievable.
But they took all my money. I bought stuff for my dad.
But some of the things I was watching, and they played games at Comiskey Park, and it kind of reminded me what the old stadium or the old park looked like without the center field that they developed over years. But there it was. They played one of their first playoff games at Comiskey Park. That was an unbelievable music. I felt like I stole only paying $10 to get in.
Then next door is the Jazz Museum.
Yeah, we didn't have time for that one.
Which is even cooler.
Yeah.
You should check it out.
I got a picture standing next to that statue of Satchel Paige.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Hey,
if you ever pick the click, guys. Pick the click. We got to get out of here.
No, it's not Friday.
Thursday.
That's tomorrow. Come on.
I'm ready.
Everson teasing ahead to Friday. We'll have picks to click on Friday here on.
Are you standing us up? You're not going to be here tomorrow?
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay.
I will be here tomorrow.
All right. We'll shout at you tomorrow on Mick Shots.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!